Hey, how's it going everyone? Today we are going to talk about Starfield bugs that are going to be fixed. Phil Spencer talks about Starfield and mods. We go over the Fallout TV show and much more. With that information to the side, let's dive right into it. We are first going to go over a few bugs that have been confirmed over at Bethesda.net. Now, if you guys did not know, recently Bethesda just released patch 1.8.87, which is going to be the beta patch. Now, most of you guys that are on Xbox are not going to be receiving this. So yeah, you're unfortunately out on this one. Do not worry, I'm not going to be going over the patch notes again, but if you want to, you can definitely check out yesterday's video because I go in detail on exactly what they have fixed and even show proof on it. One of the biggest takeaways from the patch notes is the fact that they have patched now the chest exploit. You can no longer place down a bunch of display cases and pop up a bunch of weapons. It no longer works. With that pretty much out of the way, we need to take a look at some more bug fixes that are coming along the way. Now, these are pretty minuscule, but I thought I would include them just for you guys that are curious about this stuff. For example, if we head over towards Bethesda.net, we can see that the developer has answered this question right here. The question says, what do I do if the audio of my companion's gun won't stop? The developer left this at the bottom by saying, we are investigating reports that the gun sounds are coming from companions after they have stopped shooting. In the meantime, you can try the following steps to resolve this. 1. Equip your companion with a different weapon by trading gear. 2. After completing the trade, access your companion's inventory. Number 3. Hover over the desired weapon and assign it to your companion. Number 4. Ensure that at least one round of ammunition for the newly equipped weapon is present in the character's inventory. Now, thinking back to what I just said, I did say that it was going to be minuscule, but to be honest, this seems quite annoying and probably a high issue because who wants to go around and hear their companion's gun go off all the time? By the way, off topic here, kinda. Am I the only one that disliked Barrett as a companion? I don't know. I could not stand him after a few runs, and I was like, dude, can I just shoot this guy? How come Bethesda has not made a game where if I'm just annoyed by the companion, I could just shoot him, end it, and then just continue on with my way. Continuing on towards the next bug that's going to be fixed, and the developers had answered this question, which was about the failure to communicate bug. The developers left this at the bottom by saying, we are aware of an issue where sometimes you may not be able to speak to Albin. This will be resolved in a future update. This right here, you may have heard it before because I've talked about it in a previous video, but this time they have updated the post to where it's now going to be resolved in a future update. So as for these two bugs specifically, they have been fixed and will be resolved in the next update, which is going to be really cool to see exactly what happens. I am kind of disappointed with the whole exploits being patched instead of, some big ones. They did focus on the asteroid bug, so I will give them credit there, but at the same time, I think we should probably focus on more of the bugs. By the way, I saw a question, someone was like, well, why don't you make a patch? Oh, if you think you can do it better. Well, to be honest, I'm not saying that I can do it better, I'm just saying that we should probably focus on bugs only and just kind of leave those fun exploits to the side. Speaking of to the side, let's leave that information to the side and let's continue on and talk about Phil Spencer. There was an interview done by CCXP and they had the chance to talk to Phil Spencer. Now, things started to get interesting when he began to talk about Starfield and pretty much embracing his opinions about the game. Not to mention, he even talks about how many players have played Starfield, and to be real, it's quite a lot. So Phil Spencer had this to say right here, quote, Starfield has been awesome. One of the special things about my job, I get to play games very early in development. In fact, I was playing Starfield about this time last year, and the game came out at the beginning of September of this year. And I could tell when I was playing and the fact that I couldn't stop playing that this was probably going to be a pretty special game. So you never know when something is going to be a hit, but it was nice to see how successful it's been. In fact, Starfield has now had over 12 million players since the launch of Starfield, and it still sits on our top 10 most played games from our studios. I do want to cut it off right there because I'm interested in what you guys think about that number, 12 million players. Pretty crazy, right? Well, let's go on and see what else Phil Spencer had to say, because he then says this right here, quote, we've already announced that we've got our expansion coming Shattered Space. We've already told the community that they'll get all the mod tools so that they can go and create their own content in Starfield, which has been so important to Skyrim. So ton of confidence that for many, many years, Starfield will be sitting very high in gameplay. This right here seems that they're trying to make it almost seem like a replica of Skyrim in terms of, becoming popular straight through mods. And I do not feel like that's going to be the case. And I could be wrong, Because, I mean, I don't know how this game is going to continue to be the best game out there when there's so many issues. Sure, they are going to fix and resolve a lot of problems, and also on top of that, I guess we can think positive here and play devil's advocate. On the other hand, they could also bring in a lot of mods that can fix a ton of issues. I will say, regardless, with all the issues and problems and bugs and all that, I think the game definitely has a shot at becoming a really awesome game in the end, sort of like Cyberpunk. The only thing is, time will tell about that situation, and we'll see whether or not Bethesda will be able to kind of claim some sort of reclamation. We do know about the mod situation though, because that's going to arrive in 2024, and the good news about this is that it is arriving, but the bad news is that Shattered Space is still to be announced. Todd Howard was able to mention this all within a post over at Famitsu.com. You guys should definitely check it out if you're Japanese, but if you're English, you might have to use a translator. So there is some positives and some negatives, but the good news again is that mods will be arriving, and I think when that does arrive, a lot of you that are on Xbox are going to be able to finally be able to just go past certain bugs, because someone out there may release a awesome mod that just fixes some of those problems, and you do not need to wait for Bethesda to come on by. Anyways, continuing on, we're going to talk about Starfield because there is some more bugs popping up within the game, and I know, big shocker, big surprise, but we got to talk about it. This time, more ships are disappearing, but this fella right here had seen that his ship had disappeared off of Atlantis. If you take a look on the screen here, it says, "My effing ship is gone." Then if you take a look at some of the images, yeah, it's not there. This guy is definitely probably upset. You know, he is upset. But guess what? If you guys do not fix this issue, you can actually see your ship fully disappear. So if you do come across this, do not continue onwards. What I would recommend is try to find an older save. I know I sound like Bethesda now, but really, that's your best shot. Because again, if you do continue on with that save, you're going to permanently lose it, and you do not want that to happen. The next bug that just popped up within the beta patch can be found right here. Quote, "Now bug I initiated conversation with Ambassador Radcliffe and Sarah Morgenstad showed up." Then at the bottom, this Reddit user had this to say right here, quote, "To add to that, my character was frozen / couldn't move like in conversation. Could not break conversation, and Barrett was my follower. Happened as game was processing for her to give me the archive code. I suppose weird how she had companion stats show up though." End quote. So right there, yeah, this bug is strange, and I don't think I've ever seen some of the stats pop up on the right side like you would see with companions. I am interested whether or not you have experienced this bug right here for you guys that are on Steam. Maybe you have experienced this prior? I don't know. Let me know down below. The third bug can be found right here, and this completely turns your ship invisible so you can see some of the things from the inside. This right here is also another huge problem to where you can potentially lose your ship. So if you come across this bug, again, try to revert back to an earlier save, or worst case scenario, if you do not have a save, you can also try to duplicate the ship and see if that fixes the problem as well. I would definitely recommend that first. This way you do not have to revert back to a save that you may have possibly made, I don't know, 200 hours ago, which would be pretty insane if that was the case. So this might just save you. And so now let's head over towards the final bug that is worth mentioning, which you can find right here. This Reddit user named Forsaken Spot 266 had this to say right here. Quote, "Starfield followed distortions on a scan bug fixed, but it's a pain. I ran into the same problem and it got fixed. And it is a pain, I know. I did the whole Vanguard side quest and was 22 hours in. And after realizing what happened, I needed to backtrack to like 9 hours. Solution, you need to go back to a save before you started the mission, so before you went to the eye and talked to Vladimir, that will fix it. Explanation, for us with the bug, the game did not load the temple, so that is why we can't see the distortion. If we reload the mission, it gives us a new planet / destination with the temple. It is random. If you are very unlucky, you can run into 2 bug destinations in a row. Then you need to go back to the save before the mission again. An update cannot fix this bug for players that already encountered the problem, but it can fix it for new playthroughs." End quote. And right there at the end, he's absolutely right, because let's say, for example, you have a mission that's currently bugged right now, or in this case, you have this problem bugged. Then on the patch notes, it clearly says, hey, we fixed the problem with distortion. So then you hop onto the game and you're like, okay, I'm ready to complete this mission now. Well, guess what? You cannot do so because it's still bugged. The reason for this is if you have saved it while it's bugged, it's going to permanently be there regardless, even if you do download the patch. This is pretty much it as in terms of bugs right now that I'm new to. Let me know if you have experienced any of the bugs right here on the list. But let's continue on and talk about the Fallout TV show. This right here I wanted to save till the very end because it does have to do with Bethesda, but at the same time it has nothing to do with Starfield. I will say first and foremost, I am impressed. I will say that they did nail down quite a few things. I think a lot of things we're looking forward to is a Deathclaw, super mutants, and a few other things. They were not able to include these things in the trailer, and perhaps it's something that will be into the next season or somewhere later on in the season, who knows. Regardless, they did an excellent job when it came down to showing the power armor. I love the fact that the Rad Roach is there as well. The Yao Guai is also there, the aggressive bear that you saw in the trailer. If you're not a fan of Fallout, you're probably like, oh, what the hell is that? Well, yeah, it's a Yao Guai. Also, I don't know if anybody is a huge fan of the ghoul, but yeah, the ghoul looks pretty good in this. I think it could be more messed up in the face area, but as for what it looks like, pretty solid. Oh, and how could I forget, one of my favorite moments as well had to be the blimp, which is the Brotherhood of Steel when they came through with the Pride one. By the way, I'm not too sure if they share the same name from Fallout 4, but if they do, I'm going to be really interested in this. Overall, I'm excited for the Fallout TV show, but there is some concerns because some people believe it's going to be really woke. Personally, I do not see it, but I think what's going on here is some people are kind of getting the idea from South Park Pandaverse. You know, you put a chick in it and you make, yeah, I'm not going to finish that sentence one bit, but you guys can feel free to do what you want to. But yeah, for video purposes and to keep my channel here, I'm not going to say it. But as for right now, I do not see how it's woke. I guess we will find out once it's fully out on April 12th, and we'll see how things go. This is pretty much the end of the video. If you guys have any questions, comment down below, and I will be answering within the first hour. Also, I appreciate all the love and support from all of you in the last video, commenting and talking about everything. It's really awesome to see. And if you guys have anything else you want to bring up in today's video, like bugs, maybe something that you've seen online, just let me know down below. Again, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you all in the next video.